Hello and welcome to my 91st Annual Academy Awards Prediction June update. Now, yes, this is a couple of days late. Usually I try to have these up by the 9th or 10th. This is going up. I'm recording this late on the 12th, so it's either going to go up late on the 12th or early on the 13th. We will see what happens. I apologize. So here's the thing. First of all, this video is not scripted, so we're back to my incoherent rambling. Maybe I'll have to script these videos too. It's maybe working well for the From Pixels to Pictures reviews. I have not gotten a single comment on any of those reviews, so I'm curious what my 9 subscribers think about that. I apologize, it's weird to think about. But what's interesting, when you look at my when I look at my YouTube statistics, my previous Oscar prediction video, I think it might have been my most successful, but it also was the first YouTube video I submitted to get a dislike. I don't know who disliked it, I don't know why they disliked it, I don't think I said anything particularly offensive or upsetting, or I have no idea. If you are the person who disliked that last video, let me know why. Maybe it was because you disagreed with my predictions, and if that's the case, then it's time to change them. Okay, so, Best Animated Feature. Now, as with the previous videos, I'm just going to breeze through a lot of these. If you want, you can pause and take a closer look at them. The up and down arrows symbolize that they've moved up or down in my predictions, and if you really want to, you can go back to the previous videos to see where it ranked. And I just saw my first typo, 9 the Grinch, that should have a period. I apologize. So in this category, let's really talk about this. So, Isle of Dogs, I did not see that movie. And I don't even know if it's playing in theaters anymore. To me, it almost feels like that movie came and went. So you're like, well, why are you still predicting it to win? I don't know. It feels like an interesting situation is the Academy just going to default to giving it to Pixar again? Because the last 2 times they gave it to Pixar for Inside Out and Coco, those were not like token Pixar wins. Those were totally deserved Pixar wins for 2 masterpieces that really should have gotten Best Picture nominations. Now, I have not seen The Incredibles 2 yet. I'll see it in the upcoming days. But I just don't know. Like, if they're not gonna give Incredibles 2 the win, are they even gonna nominate it? Because we've seen in the past, when a Pixar movie is clearly not gonna win the Oscar, they just don't bother to nominate it. You know, Good Dinosaur, Finding Dory, and Cars 3, all not nominated. So, it's like, either Incredibles 2 is gonna walk away with this award, or it's gonna not get a nomination. But, with that being said, Incredibles 2 is getting very good reviews. I'm going to see it soon. I don't know if it's going to win the Oscar. Toy Story 3 to this day is the only sequel to win an Oscar. And I feel that recently there's just this feeling of, why does Pixar keep winning this award over and over and over again? And I'm sorry, they can't help it that they keep making good movies and no one else is making movies that are as good. Okay? In terms of nominations, I'm not really changing anything. I really thought about putting Spider-Man into the nominations, but the Academy has a track record of not nominating a franchise films, as we saw with Lego Movie and Lego Batman Movie. A lot of times they just don't nominate movies that are, well, I would say superhero films, but you saw with, let's see, Curious George, what else? Angry Birds movie. I don't know. Like, they don't nominate a lot of movies that are based on pre-existing franchises. So I'm sure that movie's going to be good. It looks good from the trailer, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll see what happens. Best sound mixing. We got our first trailer for First Man, and I just realized that I kept the same 5 nominees the same. I actually feel really confident with these 5 nominees. And one thing you'll notice is A Star is Born. I gave A Star is Born a lot of love in these categories because the trailer looked very promising. and it looks like it could seriously be a big Oscar thing. Also, we got a trailer for Operation Finale. So, it's always exciting when you get to the point where all of the movies in the categories at least have a trailer. So, we got trailers for the top 3 movies in this category, and I think they're all going to have great sound mixing. I don't really think there's a whole lot else to say. Best sound editing. Okay, so I almost... And there's a mistake. I'm sorry. 5 and 4 switch. It's so funny. You go over these things. There was a great tweet someone said that was like, you know you're a writer when your spell check ability increases by 1,000% after you hit send. And that's what's going on with these. We'll just try to move through these as fast as possible so you don't see it. These are my things. I almost considered having Incredibles 2 in the lineup, ultimately decided against it, but it's really close. The first film was the only animated film to win the Oscar for sound editing, so it's tempting. I'm pretty sure I took care of all the other mistakes. Also, Solo: A Star Wars Story went down. I just don't feel like that movie has a lot of real shot anymore, because it failed at the box office and with critics. So we'll see. But failure, it could still get nominations in the minor categories. We'll see what happens. Best Original Song. I have no idea. A Star is Born and Mary Poppins Returns, I guarantee one of those movies is going to have multiple songs. And they may try to get multiple songs in, and that could happen. Happy Time Motors, I was not impressed by that trailer. The trailer looked bad. So I don't think that could get Oscar nominated. Outside of that, not much else to say. I don't know what other movies to consider. I don't know what movies will have songs. Some of these movies, I don't even know if they could have songs. First Man might not have a song. I don't know why I thought it might. It's really all just trial and error. Some of these Oscar movies will have songs and some of them won't. And even then, like A Star is Born and Mary Poppins Returns, we're fairly confident that they'll have original songs, but we don't know what the titles of these songs will be. So for now, I'm just bringing the film title. Best Original Score. Okay, not much has changed here. I put the most in it. I included A Quiet Place. I'm sorry, I wish I had more commentary for this one, but really, there's not. Operation Finale, I will say, Alexandre Desplat is doing that score, and after seeing the trailer, I'm very convinced that movie will be an Oscar darling, so yeah, Operation Finale will show up in more places. Best Visual Effects, you'll notice Solo: A Star Wars Story, I believe that was number 1, and now it's number 4. Infinity War, I'm not saying that that's definitely going to win, but I think it stands a better shot at a nomination. First Man actually might be a good choice for winning, or definitely for nomination. Keep your eye on First Man. We don't know how much visual effects are going to be in that movie. It's always tricky with space movies. I mean, sometimes you get gravity, sometimes you get hidden figures. Like they're not always going to have a ton of visual effects. Okay, so that's this. There's not really a whole lot else to say. Jurassic World might contend. Really, it's hard to know at this stage. Best Makeup and Hairstyling. I changed very little here. I think Backseat, Black Panther, and Mary Queen of Scots all make perfect sense as nominees, which is why I'm sure none of them will probably end up making it in the end. Best Makeup is such an unpredictable category. Yeah, not much else to add there. Best Costume Design. Again, I have the two Marys. The two Marys will probably stay up there for a very long time. And then here are the rest of the nominees. Honestly, I don't even know. I will say, The Nutcracker in the Four Realms, I'm curious about how that film will do, given the recent allegations about Morgan Freeman. Unless they can, pull a stunt and suddenly edit Morgan Freeman out of the movie and replace him with another actor. Like, James Earl Jones will be the black equivalent of Christopher Plummer. If they can do that, maybe. I have no idea how that movie's gonna go. The trailers looked interesting. It pretty much just looks like another Disney film with costume and set porn, for lack of a better term. That probably sounded awful. Mackenzie Foy Mackenzie Foy is reaching that age where it's like, okay, make a Last of Us movie now and cast her as Ellie. Speaking of Last of Us, did you see that E3 trailer? It looked so good. I'm getting off topic, but seriously, it was so good, and I need a release date for that. Oscars. I'm talking about the Oscars. Right. Best Production Design. Wow, not a whole lot changed in this category. The five or the five. I really didn't. I'm surprised by looking back at it how much did not change. I think when we get to some of the major categories, I changed a lot of stuff in there. But a lot of these minor ones did not change. And if you can pause and look at it, and it really doesn't matter. I don't know if you're predicting your own thing or if you're comparing this to other people's predictions. Because when I did my initial Oscar predictions at March, I did not look at anyone else's predictions. I just looked at a list of films that were scheduled to come out, and I just typed them all out. So I have no idea how many of these are going to be big deals. We will see what happens. Best Cinematography. Now this one, a lot of stuff changed. Still have First Man in first place. First Man is in first place in a lot of categories. It continues to be. The trailer looks very Oscar baity. At this point, we should all trust Damien Chazelle. Excuse me. At this point, we should all trust Damien Chazelle because he has not let us down yet. So, not much else to say. Widows moved a bit up, and Widows is much like A Star Is Born. Widows moved up a lot in my predictions, thanks to a very, very strong trailer. One movie that moved down a lot in my predictions is BlacKkKlansman. I was not a fan of that trailer, and it got me worried that it would be like a bad Spike Lee movie. You have to wait for reviews to come in. But it's interesting because the movie seems to imply that he only pretended to be a Klansman over the phone and there was someone else playing his role, which in real life, from what I understand, he told them he was a self-hating black man and that he was willing to join the Klan in spite of his skin and that he believed in the cause. And that's much more interesting, so I don't know why you're making it less interesting for the movie. When the true story is so unbelievable, like, oh, we had to dial it down. Like, no, tell the unbelievable true story. That's why you do these biopics. And you got a story that's true and so unbelievable. I don't know, put brackets, we swear this is the true story. Just don't... I don't know, it just feels like such a weird move to make. Best Film Editing. Not much has changed here. Under the Silver Lake has less... it moved down a lot. And I feel fairly confident with that decision. It can be hard to tell. The movie looked interesting, but I just can't get a grasp on how well it's going to do with critics and with the Academy. It can be really tricky to judge these things. If Beale Street Could Talk, on the other hand, I am pretty confident about that one. I think that's Barry Jenkins' follow-up to Moonlight. I do feel confident that that one's going to be a big thing. But it might not, because nothing is certain at this point in the game. Okay, we're on to the big categories. Best Adapted Screenplay, First Man, If Beale Street Could Talk, Widows. Those feel... I'm actually really happy with this lineup with these 5. And then A Star Is Born could make it, but I don't know at this point, like, how well is that remake going to do? And then beyond that, it's just guesswork. But I do feel... I apologize for yawning. I do feel confident with this lineup. Best Original Screenplay. I think 8th Grade could be a big thing. We'll see how well that does, but I just feel like that could be like this year's Lady Bird. I don't know how many other categories I put it in, but Original Screenplay feels like a sure bet for that film. And A Quiet Place is surprisingly close to getting a nomination. So we'll see where that goes. Yeah, the backseat still feels like it could be a winner. It's Adam McKay, and he won an Oscar already. So I don't know. That's the best bet. It's interesting because this year adapted screenplay seems to be more competitive than original, which seems to be an inverse of the last couple of years. Pixar's like, dang it, we should have released Coco 1 year later, then we would have gotten that original screenplay nomination. Best Supporting Actress. Don't know what else to say. Amy Adams, we're booking on Amy Adams. Claire Foy looks like she's going to get just a token supporting wife nomination because they nominate the token supporting wives all the time. Jennifer L., I hope that movie does well, but we really don't know. Regina King, I hope it's a good role that she has. Margot Robbie, we're hoping that's good. Millicent Simmons is the one person that I'm really going to champion throughout the year because of the movies I've seen so far this year, she gave my favorite performance. I loved what she did in that movie. And I hope she continues to have a career after this movie. So, Millicent Simmons, I want her to continue to act. Please continue to nominate her. I want her to get the nomination. But Amy Adams is walking away with this award, I hope. It can be scary to call something really early. But I mean that mini series of Dark Places is coming out soon. So I think that'll be good. That'll build momentum for Amy. It might get her some Golden Globe or SAG nominations because I don't think it's going to make the Emmy deadline for this year, but it's going to get her nominations, and that'll coincide nicely with her Oscar campaign. So she's doing everything right. Let's just hope she can get it. Best Supporting Actor. I feel confident about all these men except Adam Driver. I still have Adam Driver on the list. Sam Elliott is close there, and Daniel Kaluuya is in an interesting spot where he could make it, but could not. I think it could be like an Afterglow nomination thing, like he just got nominated last year. Now he's working with Steve McQueen opposite Viola Davis. I think Sam Rockwell. I don't know if Sam Rockwell is going to be in contention to win. Ben Kingsley might be in contention to win. And actually, if Beautiful Boy turned out to be a really big thing, then people will be quick to give it to Timothée Chalamet. People will be like, okay, we loved your performance last year, but we had to give it to Gary Oldman, and this is a nice way to make up for that. Timothée Chalamet could win this. Russell Crowe could be nominated. Corey Stoll could be nominated. Michael B. Jordan, I go back and forth. I want him to be a contender, but I don't know if that's practical. Best Actress. This category is so tight. So tight. Saoirse Ronan is an Oscar darling right now, and I think she's starting to build up the narrative that it's time for her to win an Oscar. Lady Gaga, she's going to use her stage name rather than her birth name of Stephanie Germanotta in A Star Is Born, but I feel that she could definitely get nominated, but I think a win might be pushing it. Kiki Lane, the role sounds very, very meaty on paper, and she's starring in one of the biggest Oscar contenders, possibly, of the year. Melissa McCarthy doing drama, I think that has real legitimate potential. And then Viola Davis, she just makes sense as the fifth nominee or the possible contender for the win. Elsie Fisher just barely missed it. Glenn Close. Everyone 6 to 10 just barely missed it. Even Judi Dench, I feel like the Academy would be like, ooh, we have a chance to nominate Judi Dench again. We can do that. Toni Collette. I have not seen Hereditary yet. Everyone who's seen it says she is amazing. I don't know. I think a lead performance for a horror film is a little bit risky, but then again, Daniel Kaluuya got on for Get Out. Is it possible that there could be 2 horror movies that do really, really well in a year? Get Out and A Quiet Place and Hereditary? Can they both do really well this year? I don't know. My throat is getting sore. I'm gonna take a drink of water and then, yeah. One edit later, and I have now had a glass of water. Isn't editing fun? Okay, so I think that's everything we have to say about Best Actress. Moving on to Best Actor. I feel really good about this 5. Gosling, Bale, Carell, Garfield, Cooper. It's a very attractive top 5 in lead actor, and And the bottom 5 are no slouch either. Ben Foster, Willem Dafoe. I'm curious to see how well some of these people can do. Jeffrey Wright in the OG, in that movie, plays a man who has been in prison for 25 years, and he is now on the last days of his sentence, and that seems like it's going to be really interesting and a really good showcase for Wright. I am currently watching Westworld, so I'm kind of into Jeffrey Wright at this moment. It just seems like a cool idea. Keep an eye out on that film and that performance. Outside of that, yeah, Bradley Cooper looked really good in the A Star Is Born trailer, and Best Actor, I think, might be close between Gosling and Bale. Really, any of these could win it. I really do like this 5. If you do it alphabetical, it's Bale, Carell, Cooper, Garfield, Gosling. 5 really great leading men, and okay, a person of color could enter the mix to make things a little bit more interesting, and that's somewhat of a tricky challenge that we have. At least there are 2 women of color in lead actress, I believe. When we looked at, yeah, Kiki Lane and Viola Davis. So, yeah, it's good. We don't want to have an Oscars so white situation again. And I think it'll be a long time before we do. I think we're making really good movies now, and we're giving attention to minority talent. So here's hoping that we don't have another Oscars so white situation. Best Director. So it looks like this is a rematch for Damien Chazelle and Barry Jenkins, because they're not only are they in the top 2 for Best Director, but they're also in the top 2 for Best Picture, and they are really going to be duking it out, I imagine. I think there is a great situation where Barry Jenkins wins Best Director and First Man wins Best Picture, sort of as a way to give it to both men. I feel that it makes sense. I do have a lot less faith in BlacKkKlansman, as I've mentioned, and I don't really know what else to say. So, Widows. Here's the thing about Widows. Steve McQueen, his previous movies, Hunger, Shame, and 12 Years a Slave, not only have they all starred Michael Fassbender, but they all have a reputation of being really, really good movies that are really, really hard to watch. And not just because of Michael Fassbender. I'm sorry, Michael, but you do not have great box office returns. So, yeah, Bradley Cooper is, I think he could very easily get nominated. Wait, this is for director. It'd be interesting to see if he gets nominated, because, I mean, actors turn directors. Sometimes they miss, but when they hit, they really hit. So, yeah, I'm just rambling at this point. I'm ready to finish the video. So let's finish the video. Let's move up. Best Picture. Okay, here we go. Best Picture. I like this category. Black Panther moved down a little bit. See, here's the thing about Black Panther. I can't help but feel that some people have already forgotten about it due to what happened with Avengers: Infinity War. Which, if you ask me right now, I would actually kind of prefer to see Avengers: Infinity War in the Best Picture lineup over Black Panther. Now, Black Panther was a great movie, but Avengers: Infinity War made me want to watch the other Marvel movies. Avengers: Infinity War legitimately made me a Marvel fan. And considering everything I had to juggle with all of those characters, and that ending, which had to, well, I won't say anything, I think it just hit $2 billion. You should have seen it by now. But, yeah, it is tricky, and there are a lot of really good movies this year, of the ones that we've seen so far. I don't know how accurate this is going to be, but I do feel like A Star Is Born and Widows are very much on track to be Best Picture nominees, even though I don't think either one of them has a real shot at winning. And I still feel very confident about Operation Finale after seeing that trailer. I feel that my initial suspicion to put it up there was not in vain, and I hope that I'm proven right, because I was proven right before with Room. I said that Brie Larson was going to win Best Actress a full year before it happened, and everybody said I was crazy. Okay, so that's pretty much it at that point. At this point, I think we're good. I think I hope that these predictions are a little bit more accurate than last predictions, and we'll see. At the end of the year, I'll probably do something to see like how close I came and how my predictions went up and down. That'll be an interesting thing to track as the year goes on. So, thank you all for watching. I'm currently in the process of researching my next From Pixels to Pictures review, playing Street Fighter 2. And this research has pretty much destroyed my life because now I obsessively play video games more than I did before I started this project. So, once again, send me comments. Let me know what you think of that franchise, of that series, because it's not gotten a lot of it's gotten views, but it hasn't gotten comments. So, we'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you later.